Hey there, guys. How's it going? My name is Sumed Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. So, I just meditated on collective suffering, and this is day 2. My father is running a meditation retreat online, and it was interesting. It was very interesting. What I started to notice is that at times I couldn't face my own future suffering, and it started to become many different things for me. So let me explain the process to you a little bit first. So essentially what we did is, first of all, we started out by understanding compassion. And, compassion is our unseen friend. Compassion is our protector. Every single bodhisattva, they go through this process of understanding compassion and having that compassion permeate outside of themselves to other people, to the world, and I'm sure to the universe as well. And it was this idea of our minds being the sanctum, being the palace, being the abode for other people's suffering. In a sense where they can depend on you and they feel safe around you, in a sense. At least that's what I understood from it. And we had to imagine that all of our negative karma, our self-cherishing, narcissistic, selfish human nature, was like black smoke that was being dissolved. Now, on day 1, we did this activity where we imagined the black smoke being like negative energy, which we're expelling out of us, and we're taking in positive energy from all the healers in form of white light as we're breathing in, focusing on the sensation of the breath through the nostrils, and then as we exhale from our nostrils, we imagine that black smoke leaving. But in this one, what's particularly interesting is the black smoke transformed. It dissolved and it transformed into a flower offering, a lotus from our heart, a flower offering to Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay, and as I started doing this process, you had to imagine who you were compassionate about in your life that's close to you, that's very, very close to you, and then slowly it became bigger. And then we went into a deep meditation based on our own future suffering. And if we can handle our own future suffering, that means we can handle the suffering of others as well. And very deep into the process, what I started to realize is, as an empath, I started to really, really feel the collective suffering of everybody right now. So I don't know what you're going through, what your home situation is like, if you're isolated, or whether, maybe someone in your family is sick, or, you're worried about your health. And I felt all of that. I felt all of that, and it was like a welling up. It's like inflammation, and I felt it in my heart. And I had to soften my body. I actually had to soften and reposition my spine and my body to be able to handle that, which was very interesting. It was difficult. It was really difficult to hold all of that pain inside of me. But it made me understand what compassion really is. Compassion is a responsibility, straight up. You may think of compassion being, something that we do, just a nice thing to do, just be compassionate. Absolutely not. Compassionate is that mental toughness. Compassionate is being able to hold all of that suffering, your own future suffering even. I saw different elements of my life where perhaps I would suffer, and my mind was taking me to different places, and I kept coming back to my breathing, and I kept coming back to my heart. Because the mind can concoct all of these stories, and the visualization really helped. The visualization of the black smoke becoming flower petals and this kind of blooming potential really helped. And also, I started to understand that a lot of people from my past who maybe I haven't reached out to in a while, I thought of them. Now, these weren't people that I knew very well. Maybe some of them were, Maybe some of them were. They were like not even that close of a friend to me. They were like acquaintances, and they kept popping up into my mind. And so I considered the fact that my subconscious mind was trying to tell me something about them. And, I'm going to reach out to a few of them, see what they say, because maybe they're going through something, or maybe I felt they're suffering, or they need compassion right now. But I'm not going to make an assumption here. I'm going to reach out to them and I'm going to see what they have to say. At times, our instincts can be wrong. At times, they're just strung together memories, like montages, like a collage of the mind that just strings together these different incidences or people that leave a lasting samskara or energetic imprint, blueprint with you. It's not always easy to delete that subconscious playlist. We have to really go inwards and do the inner work. And that's why, meditating on it and going through the process of actually being present with our future suffering, as well as the suffering of others and suffering of the world, is a big task. It's not an easy task. I think the fact that it's happening inside of us, you see, we rely on external things all the time, but when we can find that happiness within us, that compassion within us, then it can permeate onto other people, right? And that's why we had to look at our future suffering first before we looked at the future suffering of others, or maybe even the entire globe, right? So we started from others, back to self, back to others. When you start to meditate, like today I've been meditating most of today. I'm going to meditate again in the evening time. It's a day full of meditation. What I've noticed is through meditation, all the stuff that you've repressed, suppressed, comes up again. It comes up again because your subconscious mind knows, like, hey, you got to do something. This is gold. This is treasure. This is not something to stuff down and not face. This is treasure right here. And you can use this to get you back to the jewel of your heart, back to that blossoming potential. And understanding this process, it makes me understand the relevance of having a practice like this with a scary future like this. Yes, I did contemplate, death of my loved ones. Yes, I did contemplate, different scenarios where people betrayed me. Yes, I did contemplate the suffering of something not going my way or me not getting an opportunity. I contemplated all of that. But you know what? As I did contemplate that, I just came back to my heart and I made it a flower from this black smoke, this negative karma from my past. It's a weird feeling, man, making smoke into a flower, like something non-physical, right? Not solid, something gaseous into something very solid, but also temporary, something that is alive, right? A flower is alive. A flower blooms and then it's a symbol of maybe purity. It can be a symbol of growth, of blossoming. It can be a symbol of our own Buddha nature, perhaps. It can be all of these things, right? Giving it to the Buddha Shakyamuni. They are placed in your own heart. The compassion is already there within you. And through the suffering, that's the fuel. That's what unlocks the compassion. Imagine Spider-Man getting bit by the spider. That was his suffering. And that inflamed experience of him getting, ow, right? At the moment, he felt like he got poisoned. But that black smoke was actually being transformed into a flower. And it was blossoming in his heart. And then he started to notice that now I am the spider. The obstacle is the way. I used to always think that this was me, this little mole right here, right? I always used to think that that was because I was Peter Parker when I was a very young child. I used to go like this all the time. But yeah, the boy, that nerdy boy, Peter Parker, dissolved. His negative karma dissolved, and that suffering of being bit allowed him to get much more into his compassionate nature, and through the offerings, through saving New York City, through being compassionate for others, he was able to recognize his true willingness So this is your affirmation for today. I am willing. And even if you say this and you're not willing, you can ask yourself, am I willing to do this? Simply, am I willing? Am I willing? And if you're not willing, then just say to yourself, I am not willing. And that'll give you resolve, that'll give you strength and responsibility as well. Because if you're not willing to do it, at least you're honest with yourself. Right? But that question needs to be asked. Am I willing to do it? Am I willing to go to the gym? Am I willing to eat healthier? Okay? It's a lot of the times it's not laziness, procrastination, this, that, lack of motivation, lack of drive, lack of sex drive, lack of this drive, lack of potential, lack of this, it's not that. It's just willingness. It's just willingness. Are you willing? Are you willing to sacrifice a lot? Are you willing? Am I willing? I am willing. Let's go. That's when you move into it. That's when you take out the magnifying glass and you go right into the fear, right into the suffering, and you let it transform that black smoke from the inside through this feedback loop through your breath, and then it becomes this offering, this thank you. It becomes this gratitude, right? This thank you for allowing me to do this, for letting me hold the pain of the world and what everybody's going through at this time. And that takes incredible strength and resolve and power and potential, and it's bigger than anything that I can really explain to you, and all this came from a meditation session, so I don't know what to say to you. This is what I have for you today. This is my video. I hope you have an incredible, amazing, compassionate day. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you, and stay legendary.